Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe button, that follow button, 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcast. Let's talk about Coach Prime trying to save college football, right? I do think it needs saving. It's in a weird spot right now where it's like we over adjusted kind of in a way. It's like everyone went from, I don't know, like it was like the players can't get paid. They're amateurs, right? And then it was like they need to get paid for their name, image, and likeness being used, right? The schools get X amount of dollars off of them and they get none of that, right? And so what the easy solution could have been, which is what we're doing now, kind of, is revenue share, which is like, hey, I don't know, you made us $1 billion last year. I mean, that's probably an exaggeration, but like say Colorado, for instance, you made us $100 million last year, right? We're going to give each of you X amount of dollars, depending on what the coaches want to pay you, right? That's why general managers are so important, because they could decide it, right? I don't know what the number would be, but you get where I'm going, right? Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, they're probably getting $1 to $5 million each. Next tier guys, 300 to 500. Next tier guys, 50 to 100K, right? It would have been nice. It would have been nice for that to be the solution. I think that would have prevented all of this NIL stuff if everyone was just like, hey, you pay within this range. And there's probably still going to be some craziness here and there if that was the case. But instead, it's basically been this pay for play, buy players, buy contracts, buy whatever, behind the scenes, no punishments, nothing, just buy the roster, the best roster possible. And the teams with the most money are going to be the teams that have the most success. So Coach Prime was asked today what he would do to help fix NIL, because the new rev share, which went into place July 1st, so now the schools could pay players, it went into place. And so now it's like, okay, so what do we do with this other problem of like, hey, we're going to offer you $3 million to come here over 5 years or over 3 years and blah, blah. There's a big problem there, right? So this is Deion Sanders' solution. And I think it's pretty obvious. It's not profound by any means, but I do think it's nice to hear from someone like him who Deion Sanders was all about making that money. But Deion Sanders isn't stupid. Coach Prime was a superstar athlete who wanted that money. He wanted to maximize his value. That being said, even he knows is like, hey, this is ridiculous, right? So this is what he said, quote, I wish it was a cap limit. Like the top of the line players make this. And if you're not that type of guy, you're not going to make that. That's what the NFL does. So the problem is you got a guy that's not that darn good. He could go to another school and give them they could give him $500,000. You can't compete with that. It don't make sense. All you have to do is look at the playoffs and see what those teams spent, and you understand darn near why they're in the playoffs. Quote, he says, it's kind of hard to compete with somebody who's giving 25 to 30 million to a darn freshman class. He basically said college football has turned into the team that spends the most money will be the last team standing. And so, yeah, he's absolutely right. College football, I don't know what the solution is. I mean, there's probably thousands of people who think they have the right solution to fix it. And your favorite expert's favorite expert is like, you know what, this is what would do it. And there, for everything, there's, I guess, a plot hole. There's sort of a, oh, but if that happens, then this person could sue, right? Like that's what the NCAA has sort of found themselves, which for one, this is the easy one. I think 99.9% of people would agree with this. So I take back, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here. It stops associating with the NCAA. Like it doesn't work anymore. Associate with, maybe do that with the Olympic sports. I don't know, but the NCAA should not be overseeing football anymore, basketball. It just doesn't work. But the rest of it, it's not an easy fix. If it was an easy fix, we'd just be like, hey, by the way, we're not going to do NIL anymore. We're just going to do rev share. You guys are going to be evaluated by an agency, and they're going to determine your value, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be like your value based on production, your value based on predicted whatever. And I mean, I feel like that's a good solution right there, where this would have to be a third-party agency. I guess it would be a recruiting agency, but this is where it gets sort of dicey, because then that turns into corruption, where it's like, hey, I'll pay you this amount of dollars to boost my ranking, so that way I can make this amount of dollars when I'm in college, right? There's a lot of complications, but at the end of the day, college football needs to be in a position where the money can't be running the sport. right? I don't think money's never not going to be a factor, right? I think that's always going to be a thing where it's like, hey, Colorado said they'd pay me 200 grand to go here, but say Oklahoma State, they said they'd pay me 300 grand. Are you willing to match? No. Well, then I'm going to go there, right? I think that's always going to be a factor. But I do think if we could sort of limit the exterior craziness or the whatever, right? I just think that there's too much going on. There's too much. There's zero rules, regulations, right? I think I saw something today that there was thousands of NIL deals that were sent to the clearinghouse, which is like the new method of like, hey, you have to get it approved, and only 80 of them were rejected. So it's like, and they're rejected with the possibility of being able to be redone. So there's just not enough rules. There's not enough regulations. I don't really know what the proper solution is. But if you have Deion Sanders, who is very pro player, saying, hey, this is getting out of hand, well, there's your answer, right? Deion Sanders, coaches across college football are sick of this. I mean, I'm kind of sick of it, where it's like, okay, so-and-so just left because this person back-channeled, got them to the answer to the transfer portal. He talked about that today, which I think he was mentioning. I think it's Carter Stottmeyer, and it could have even, I don't think he mentioned it, but could have even be referencing Isaiah Gustav. Both were attempted to be poached by Virginia. Isaiah eventually went to Virginia or transferred and then ended up not going. Now he's at South Carolina. That means whatever, neither here nor there, but there's got to be punishments, right? If you reach out to my guy, to my player who's a student, he's under this is the other thing. You got to be under contracts, right? Contracts have to mean something where if you want to go to, like, say you're not recruited well or recruited heavily, and it's like, okay, well, I want to transfer up, sign a 1 to 2 year deal. And when your deal's up, renegotiate with your school, or obviously you're able to hit the market. I don't think we're honoring commitments anymore. I think we lost sight in that, where it was like, these players, why are they have to sitting out when coaches could take jobs whenever, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But I mean, this is what we're dealt with. This is what we're sort of dealt with, right? For coaches, it doesn't happen as often. We don't see a coach, for the most part, we don't see a coach at 3 schools in 3 years, right? Where it's like, oh, Kalen DeBoer is the head coach at Fresno State. Okay, now he's at Washington. Okay, now he's been there for a year or two. Now he's at Alabama, right? Like, we don't see that very often, right? We don't see coaches going, Scott Frost, 2 at USCF, 2 at Nebraska, or whatever it is, right? It's like, sometimes, for the most part, it's like 3 to 4 years. Then they get hired at the next job. That's usually when they leave for a job that's like not their dream job, but that's the job at the highest level. There just needs to be a solution, right? And I understand that's not always fair. Life's not fair. I mean, it is what it is. Players have the freedom to move. I do think that there needs to be some sort of stipulations to help limit all of this craziness. But Deion Sanders has the right idea, right? Cap limit. I think that's the easiest solution right now, just because, like, it takes away the fairness. And I'm not saying, like, Ohio State, just because they are spending $20 million and everyone else can spend $20 million, do you think that's really going to diminish how good Ohio State is? Right? They're just going to stop getting recruits? No. Right? So there's got to be a cap limit. I think players could be evaluated on their projected value or production or whatever, and there could be some sort of solution. I don't know what that solution is. I'm not the guy that gets paid to figure that out, but maybe they should consult Deion Sanders, right? I feel like he's got a good grasp on it. So that's my take on it. You guys let me know. What do you think the solution should be? Also, did Deion Sanders name a starting quarterback? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow, give me 5 stars wherever you get your podcasts, and let's talk some QB comp. That was an aggressive P sound right there. I don't know why. We're talking the quarterback comp. No, maybe that's just me. I don't know. Coach Prime was asked about it. He did this weird thing at Big 12 Media Day where it's like, yeah, I'm bringing 2 quarterbacks, right? And let me explain why it's weird or unique. I guess weird's not the right word, but we're all a little weird, right? Deion Sanders brought Caden Salter and Julian Lewis to Media Day, which is fine. I mean, he has the right to do so. You can pick whoever you want. Usually, a team will bring their starting quarterback. If they don't have a starting quarterback named, like, say, I think West Virginia didn't bring anybody. I don't think UCF brought a quarterback. Who else am I missing? Whatever other school doesn't have a starting quarterback, that you just don't bring one. You bring a wide receiver, defense lineman, running back, linebacker, running kicker. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. You just don't bring your quarterback if you don't have one. And it's one of those things where Colorado brought both, and obviously he's going to be asked about it, right? Because it's like, okay, that's weird, really weird. Like no one does that, so why would you do that kind of thing? Well, this is what he said. It was pretty simple, and I think this says a lot about where the quarterback battle is, or where he sort of just doesn't want it to go. He said, we brought both of them because I don't know which one is going to start. What does that tell me? One, I mean, there's multiple possibilities. I'm going to run you through the 3 possibilities, and you guys could pick which one's your favorite. But these are the possibilities. One, the battle's truly not settled, where it's like, okay, we went through spring. We went through spring ball. They've had some summer to work out, and no one set themselves apart. That's the possible one. 2, Coach Prime hasn't been there, so he wants to see them in person. He wants to see things operating. He wants to see like, hey, how does the team react to him? Like, I bet you that's a factor. Or 3, he doesn't want to discourage one or the other, right? And I think that's also all through the years are very likely. But if you name a starter in an intense quarterback competition, like say it's Julian Lewis, he loses the job and goes to Caden Salter. You don't want Julian Lewis to be defeated and go into fall camp thinking he's the backup, preparing as the backup, acting like the backup. You want Julian Lewis having that edge to be the starter and then be like, hey, we're not gonna call on you right now, but your number's gonna get called. So be ready. Right? I think that's sort of the 3 possibilities, because at the end of the day, and I'll be honest with you, I think Caden Salter wins the job. He's more experienced, Conference USA MVP in 2023, a little bit of a down season last year, but still very experienced, pretty good arm, really good athlete, one of the best dual threats in the country. I think experience outweighs potential sometimes, where it's like you lean on the vet to get things going early, and if it doesn't work out, then you rely on the freshman, because if you go to the freshman too soon and it doesn't work out, you just shelled his confidence and it's a different player, right? I think you go with Caden Salter. I think he opens up the run game for Colorado with his legs, with the RPO stuff. I think his veteran experience, his veteran presence will help. Obviously, I'm not there every day, but I think he knows what it's like to be in a college locker room, so he could help himself have guys gravitate towards him. The reason I don't think you go Julian Lewis is I don't think you rush him in. You don't want to shake his confidence. I mean, if he's ready, you go with him. Right? But next year he's supposed to be a senior in high school, and it's very rare that someone reclassifies and is just lights out. I'll be honest with you. Like, let's run through the list, and I think I think for the most part it sort of shows like, hey, reclassifying doesn't always work. So here, let's run through the list right here. This is the stat. 8 of the 9 quarterback from 2016, 2013 transferred at least once. 6 of some notable guys were Jake Bentley, JT Daniels at USC, who played at like 5 schools and ended his career at Rice. Gavin Winsett, who started his career at Kentucky, I want to say, and then went to Rutgers, or might have been the other way around. I think there's no harm in sitting. There's no harm in sitting and waiting and learning. There's no harm in being ready when your name's called, right? So I don't know if Julian Lewis is ready to go right away, but clearly Deion Sanders is not ready to name a starter, and that's all that matters, right? I don't know if he's going to announce a starter. That feels like something he keeps close to the chest, or when he feels like someone truly earns it, he'll probably announce it, because I do also feel like that's his method, right? He doesn't like to give updates along the way, but if someone has earned it, he will say so. So that is the update on Colorado's quarterback competition. Let me know who you think will win the job. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So do me a favor, make sure to like, subscribe, follow. This has been Locked On Buffs.